Hey guys, so in this video, I want to go through my investing plan here for 2021, specifically when it comes to the stock market. And I also want to share with you some perspectives that I have and what kind of stocks I'll be looking to buy here in 2021. But before that, what I do want to disclose are some big winners that we've had here in 2020. I haven't really done this on the channel publicly before, so this is going to be a first. And I'll explain kind of my mindset through the extreme volatility that we saw in early 2020. I think what I have to share, what I've learned in the market, will help you tremendously see success here in 2021 and onwards as a long-term investor. And I think there's going to be a lot of value in this video, so you want to stick around for the entire video. So specifically today, we're going to talk about three main topics. And as always, there are going to be timestamps in the description below if you're interested. So first off, what we'll talk about is what I did in 2020 with my investing. Secondly, what are some lessons that I've learned in 2020? This is going to be big because if you're new to the market, you want to pay attention to this one. And finally, what stocks will I buy in 2021? This is a very interesting, different perspective here that I have on the market than many other people, so I'll be sharing that. So guys, please consider hitting the like button down below if you find any value in this video, and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new here. But without keeping you waiting any longer, let's get into it. Starting off first, let's talk about what I did in 2020. So going into 2020, the markets were on an absolute tear. This meant that stocks were expensive, valuations were high, and because of this, I couldn't really find too many deals out there in the market. So naturally, I started building up my cash position. During regular times, I like to have my cash position around a 20% or so of my portfolio value. And I feel like that's a good amount to really take advantage of any corrections or dips that we have, because those happen quite often in the market. An analyst downgrade can move a stock lower, bad earnings can move a stock lower, some bad news, some bad press. A lot of things can move stocks lower in the short term, which present good buying opportunities. And you want to have a good amount of cash to take advantage of those opportunities, because the big money has cash on the sidelines and they buy those opportunities up like this, so you don't want to miss out on those. So as we got through January and February, I kept building more cash. I was still buying a little bit of stock here and there, but valuations were just way too expensive for me, so my cash position inflated to over 35%. But I'm gonna admit here, I got extremely lucky being in the right place at the right time with the right amount of cash, because in March, when we saw that sharp crash, I was able to start deploying that cash. Towards the end of March, throughout April, I was buying stocks heavy. I was buying stocks in tons of different industries. I was building up positions I never had a chance to before. I added a bunch of new stocks to my portfolio. And this all resulted in my cash position dropping from around 35% to around 5%. So yeah, I did a lot of buying, and I tried to do this kind of on a weekly basis, kind of do heavy buys in the market, because valuations were just so cheap. We went from one extreme of the spectrum to the other extreme, and I didn't want to miss out here. So as you guys know, in March, we bottomed. So then I was buying into April, and I was buying technically after the bottom, but there's nothing wrong with that. There was still a lot of value out there. You're never going to be able to time the bottom, just remember that. But if the stocks you're interested in are good businesses and their valuations are just cheap, it doesn't matter if you don't catch the bottom, because over time, those valuations will come back to fair value and you will benefit from that situation. Anyways, after the March bottom, the market slowly started recovering and we closed 2020 on record highs. Okay, so now I think is the perfect time to share my three big winners from 2020. So Disney was actually my third best performer. It's a stock that I've talked about many times on the channel, and I finally got to build a massive position here, and I'm up 66.7% on this stock. Uber, my number two stock that I bought here in 2020. Controversial, yes, but I've made videos on this many times, and I believe that this is a great stock, and I'm up 81.75%. And number one, my best pick here in 2020 that I bought during the crash, Nike. I really do wish I bought more of this stock, because I believe in this brand long term, and it's done extremely well for me. It's up 118.38%. Now keep in mind, you may notice Tesla's not in there. Why is a Tesla in there? And that's because these are just three stocks that I bought during March and April. For stocks that I bought, prior, back in 2019, for example, I'm up 220% on Nvidia. I'm up nearly 200% on Apple. around 200% on Align Technologies, over 200% on Amazon, and of course, the big winner, over 1400% on Tesla. Now, of course, I'm not perfect. Of course, I had some losers as well in 2020, and I want to share those as well with you guys to be fully transparent here. I'm down 10% on Boeing, I'm down 29% on Wells Fargo, and I'm down around 8.5% on Altria. But here's the interesting part. With all of these three losers combined, if I take my dollar amount that I've lost and add it all together, Uber, just one of my big winners in 2020, actually had a bigger gain in dollar value than all of my losers combined. So needless to say, my portfolio has done quite well in 2020. So what were some lessons that I learned here in 2020 by investing during the crash, and what can I use in 2021? Well, it's no secret that the market has changed tremendously here going into 2021. We have things like SPACs that are kind of the spotlight right now. And we have, of course, the dreaded penny stocks. Penny stocks are everywhere. Everyone wants to know what the next hot penny stock is. And personally, guys, I am staying away. Now, I do have some speculative stocks, like NEO, for example, which I'm up over 900% on right now. So I do take some risk in my portfolio with a small portion of my capital. But to throw money into penny stocks and hope to double my money overnight, in a week, in a day, whatever, that's just not my game. So I say time and time again on this channel, fundamentals do matter. And that's why invest in massive companies like Apple, Nike, Nvidia, Amazon, massive giants that everyone knows about. It's not that hard to find these companies, but because they're so fundamentally strong, they have strong moats, strong business models, strong financials, they just keep winning. They're all solid stocks that I don't intend to sell anytime soon. I'm happy holding these in my portfolio, and I think they can still perform incredibly well into the future. The other thing, guys, that I want to really stress here and that I focused on in 2020 was to really buy the leaders in the space. If you notice, my biggest winners, Uber, for example, #1 ride-hailing app, Nike, #1 clothing brand, Disney, the #1 entertainment play really in the world. Maybe for streaming, they're behind Netflix, but there is possibility they could actually overtake Netflix sometime soon as well. So it's clear that winners with strong fundamentals just keep winning. Focus on the #1 players, guys. That's one of the biggest pieces of information I can really share with you here. And I don't think that strategy should change at all in 2021. In fact, I'm going to be doubling down on that here in 2021. Now, the other thing you need to understand, which, some channels disagree with me on, and that's completely fine. Everyone has different risk tolerances. I believe that a level of diversification makes sense. Now, imagine, Wells Fargo, I'm down 29%. Imagine if I put all of my capital in there, or even half of my capital in there, I would have lost a good chunk of money just because I chose not to diversify. This is why I think by diversifying in good businesses, not just for the sake of diversifying, you can actually come out ahead and do quite well over the long term. Now, maybe if I went all in on Tesla, yeah, I'd be way ahead of what my portfolio is today. But that was a huge risk back in 2019 when I was buying the stock. The outlook wasn't that clear, but I still believe in the business. They were still #1 player. I still put some capital in there and bought, but I would never go all in on any stock. This includes, the most sketchy stock, of course, but also includes the most stable stock. I would not go all in on Apple either. That's just not a strategy that works for me, and that's just something that I've learned over time, especially in 2020. I look for companies in all different sectors. I look for companies, food, entertainment, tech, semiconductors, anything out there. I'm looking, I'm trying to learn, trying to find the best deals, and I think that's worked out really well for me going into 2021 here. And finally, the last big lesson I want to share with you is to be disciplined and have a good cash position. It's very tough being a successful investor if you have no cash on the sidelines at all at any given time. Now, I'm gonna caveat this because I know there's some strategies out there, dividend investors specifically, that just want to throw in their capital as soon as they get it. And that's fine because their outlook is for long-term cash flow from dividends. So yes, you want to get your capital in there ASAP so that money can start working for you. However, if you're looking for, high growth stocks, or, you're not really investing on dividend plays directly for cash flow, you want to have cash on the sidelines to take advantage of opportunities like March 2020. That being said, as of today, guys, I'm sitting at around, I don't know, but somewhere between 15 and 17% cash. I'm trying to build this up to around 20% cash once again, but it's getting hard because while the market is extremely expensive today in general, there are a few sectors and a few stocks that I've been buying consistently pretty heavy, and they've been eating up at my cash position. So I mean, it's a good and bad thing. If these stocks work out for me over the long term, it's going to be good. But I am taking on a slight bit of risk here by not having my typical 20% cash. Just be very selective right now. That's all I can really say. The market is stretched. We could see a correction sometime soon. In fact, I think there's a high probability we see one sometime in 2021, probably, first quarter, second quarter 2021. And at that point, I'll probably deploy a lot more of that 15-17% cash that I'm sitting around. But in the meantime, I'm not going to stop buying. I'm just going to continue buying. And I guess that's going to bring us into our next section here, which is what stocks am I buying or will buy in 2021? So I'm going to say this, 2021 is a different year than 2020. Stocks that did well in 2020 most likely will not do as well in 2021. That's just how the market works. There's sector rotations, money flows from one sector to another sector. That's just reality of the situation. Last year I focused on some big players. Like I said, Nike, Uber, Disney. These are all $100 billion plus companies. Now this year, I'll probably still buy some of these large companies. In fact, I will be buying some of these large companies. But a lot of the other companies I'm looking at are much smaller market caps, but I see value there. Beyond Meat is one that comes up a lot. I've publicly stated here that I own this stock and I've been buying this one heavy, and this has become one of my largest positions already, but it can get a lot bigger in 2021 if I keep seeing value in this stock. CRM, Salesforce, is another big stock that I've recently started buying, and I'm building this to be one of my largest positions in my portfolio. I think Salesforce is an incredible business, and I've long waited for a pure play SaaS software company, and I think Salesforce fits the bill. Splunk, this is another big one that I'm buying, and I really like it at these current prices after the recent drop. And although Splunk may not be one of my top positions, it's still a good company that I do want exposure to and have as part of my portfolio. Like I said, I like diversifying in good businesses. Now, if you notice, all three of these stocks have three things in common, and these are three big things that I'm gonna go by. The first thing, they're all the number one players in their space. Beyond Meat, the number one plant-based food company. Salesforce, the number one CRM company. Splunk, the number one data analytics company, specifically with big data. The next thing is that all three of these companies have strong growth ahead. They're all expected to grow massively next year, all of them with around at least 20% growth expected. And thirdly, all three of these companies, in my opinion, are disruptors. They're all disrupting industries that they're in, and they're all kind of changing the way that the world really works, and I love it. So I share with you some lessons, I share with you what I learned last year, I share with you what stocks I'm looking to buy and how I did in 2020. And now that we're in 2021, I think this is going to be another great year for us. I will continue to keep investing in stocks that I believe in, and I will continue to throw new money into the market as fast as I can to either build up my cash position bigger or pick up opportunities that I see pop up here and there when stocks see some irrational selling. I don't plan to sell the majority of my stocks. I may sell a few positions here and there if my thesis changes. But regardless, if we go through a crash, a correction, a downturn, no, I won't be selling my stocks for that reason. In fact, I'll probably be doubling down if we're lucky enough to see that in 2021. So I just want to close off here by saying I want to wish each and every one of you guys tremendous success here in 2021. I think it's going to be a great year in the market. Stick to the fundamentals, stick to incredible businesses, and they will pay off for you over the long term. These short-term plays, these speculative plays, these penny stock plays may be fun for a small portion of your portfolio to, be more active in the markets. Nothing wrong with that. But please, just be smart with your money. This is hard-earned money that you guys have earned over time. You don't want to lose that by gambling it away, and I'd hate to see you guys lose out in a market that I believe is probably in the first stage of another massive bull run. So as always, if you want to check out my VIP group, you want to see what stocks I'm buying today, you want to see how my portfolio looks, how the position's doing in there, what stocks I'm thinking of buying, all of that is discussed in our VIP group with the Discord access that you have as well. So check it out, link description down below, and I will leave it as a pinned comment as well. But either way, guys, thank you so much for sticking around for this longer video. I appreciate it, and I hope you found a ton of value in this video. I tried to speak honestly here, I tried to share my perspective, and I tried to give you guys, whatever I learn in the market, put it out here on the channel, and hopefully that benefits you with your investment career. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.